He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women.
Are you his daughter? I'm not.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me. Now, we got to talk about this whole Willie Brown thing with Kamala Harris. Yes, we're going to get into that. You know about this viral video that's been going around. Plus, I got other information besides that viral video. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Watch the video to the end. Let's get into this.
Mr. Brown, in a 1995 special report with Diane Sawyer, you were portrayed as a rogue politician known for your flamboyant style, flashy clothes, fancy parties, and associated with fine women. With Kamala Harris's featured in the footage, in one clip, a reporter asked her, "Are you his daughter?"
Are you his daughter? I'm not.
Given that this footage is now resurfacing, what are your thoughts on how this portrayal may impact the public's perception of both you and Kamala Harris today? And do you believe this has any relevance in the current political climate?
I don't think that it will prove to be a disability, as one would try to make it for use on Donald Trump's behalf. After all, Donald Trump has been convicted of the 34 counts of things that he was doing on the money side. But even more dramatically, he has been accused and in civil proceedings held accountable for trying to hide his relationship in which he paid for, period. And so it would have to be somebody trying to erode the clear quality reputation that Kamala Harris has and trying to make it as negative as the interpretation of Donald Trump. Therefore, I do not believe that such a comparison by anybody would have any effect on this decision on Kamala Harris's qualifications.
Thank you. I also want to say that just as an observation, I was sitting and looking at a picture of you and Kamala back in '94. You guys made a great couple. She was very beautiful then. She's very beautiful now. Do you still love her?
Very much so.
Mr. Brown, Kamala Harris's past relationships, including with yourself and Montel Williams, have been the subject of public discussion. Now that she's married to a Caucasian man, do you think her marriage plays a role in how white voters perceive her? Does it make her appear safer, more relatable, especially in the context of her potential to become president?
No, I don't think so. I think that whomever she chooses to be her husband, whomever she chooses to date, whomever she chooses to have public friendships with, are all factors that people take into consideration at any level of an office you may seek, but certainly at the presidential level. And it's part of the judgment that you should be demonstrating and have demonstrated over the years of your being, period. And I think Kamala Harris does that as well as I've ever seen anybody else do it. And I, for one, do not believe she should be burdened with assumptions being made by any of us with reference to her friendships, her acquaintanceships, without some connection between her doing her duty as a deputy district attorney, her doing her duty as a senator, or who doing her duty as a president or a vice president, for that matter, unless there's something about those relationships that in the minds of an individual would be inconsistent with her being able to do the job.
So that, yes, Willie Brown, former lover, he's 90 years old and she's going to be 60 in a little bit, in a few days. So yeah, this man said he's still in love with her. Wow. Still, he's married, I think. So this is crazy, you guys, because he's saying that what she does should not affect what she's trying to do politically, basically, in a nutshell. But how she got there, you know what I mean? Because people know that he gave her, and I'm going to show you this article just to cement what I'm talking about. So right here, if you're looking at my screen here, sorry for all the ads, it says Kamala Harris's much older lover gave her a BMW and salary boosting job as she climbed Democratic Party ranks. Okay, here is an actual video right here. Yes, that's Kamala Harris right there. And it says, as a young prosecutor, you know what? I'm just going to let you watch this video.
Willie Brown, the former mayor of San Francisco, was a very important figure in Kamala Harris's early life in politics. He was her much older lover. There was like a gap of 30 years. She started seeing him in her late 20s. When she was an up-and-coming prosecutor, he lavished her with gifts. He gave her a BMW. He invited her to the Oscars. They went to Paris together. And most importantly, he made introductions in that world of Democratic politics. Willie Brown definitely took credit for helping her career and putting her on the path of this meteoric rise, this greatness, if you will. He helped her in her campaign to be the district attorney of San Francisco. Later on, she would go on to be the attorney general of California, and she held that position twice. He was an incredibly important figure in her career. I reached out to him to get his comments about how he felt about her running for president. His assistant pointedly said he wasn't going to speak.
So there, yeah, that's the thing. This is how she came up. And we want to, scrutinize men for their past relationships. We got to do the same thing with women. We say we want to be equal to men, right? So if we want to be equal in the opportunities and the success, then we have to be equal in the amount of scrutiny that we experience as well. And this is the viral clip that I really want to share with you guys, where, she's talking about that she is not his daughter. And this is back in the 90s.
He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women.
Are you his daughter? I'm not.
And
there she is. Let's go back a little bit. She's with Willie Brown at a party, and that's Kamala Harris. And she is being asked, are you his daughter?
Are you his daughter? I'm not.
And fast cars.
You should from now on address me as the mayor.
If ever.
So look, this is Kamala Harris right here. So yes, she's constantly, there she is. She's been around with Willie for a long time. Don't forget that he said he's still in love with her. Yeah, so I don't know how this is going to play out politically. I believe a lot of people already know this, and people are going to say, so what? I was communicating with someone on Facebook who knows about her history as DA and AG in San Francisco, California, and they still said they're going to vote for her because they see Donald Trump as worse than her. And see, that's the whole playbook of the Democrats, is to try and get Donald Trump to look the worst, that you have to vote for anybody else. No one is going to be as bad as him. That's the whole point. So for low information voters, and you got to believe that they're low information voters, not trying to sound condescending to anyone's intelligence, but if they knew what this current administration is up to, there is no way they would vote for them if they totally knew the destruction that's going on right now, that's bubbling right now with Russia. Yes, NATO and United States doing this whole thing. So I don't think people really know what's really happening, what's going on, because they're looking at anybody else as being better when there were no wars under Trump. So I just want people to understand what's really going on. But the whole point of this video is just to give you guys a little bit more insight into how Kamala Harris came up through the ranks. They have a nickname for her. They call her Heels Up Harris. Okay, Heels Up Harris, because that's how she seemingly came up. I mean, clearly, she was Willie Brown's lover, and he got her in front of everybody. All the who's who. And she moved up to the ranks, and she is where she is today because of that relationship. So we want to talk about men and what they do. We got to expose the women. Okay, if we're going to be doing some exposing, we need to do some exposing. And I got to say, although I'm not a fan of Willie Brown, he sure does look good for somebody 90 years old. I'm like, hey, how you do that? He doesn't quite look, he looks about maybe 70. I mean, he looks pretty good. I just wanted to point that out. But you know what we got to do, warriors? We got to get out there, of course, and vote early. And we want to definitely pray that things are done correctly in this election and that we are protected from war. Because if you know, there's a lot brewing right now with Russia, NATO. So you guys stay prayed up. You guys be blessed. Love God, your family, these United States of America. And as I always say, march on, warriors.